Hello, and welcome to the crossover, where nothing is out of bounds and everything is fair game. We have a lot to cover with you today, but first, let's check in with the Tunnel Crew. Please give a warm welcome to Stacks, Aggie P, Rooftop, TP, and Big T.
What's happening, everybody? And once again, it's time for At Home with the Crossover. I am your man, Big T, alongside my tag team partners, the usual cast of characters. We're going to start with Stats. Talking about the band, AKA Stats is in the house. Baseball aficionado Stats, what's up?
What's up? It's the springtime. Opening day is around the corner.
All right. Then we got the man that brings Ag swag to the show each and every week, talking about none other than Aggie P is in the house.
What's going on, Big T, Tunnel Crew? Aggie Pride is still nationwide.
There you go. Then we got the queen, the first lady, the doctor. Mama is in the house, the entrepreneur. We're talking about TP. TP, what's happening?
Blessings to everyone. Blessings on blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings. And we got the blind as a bat, Radar Charles in the house. Man, how do you drive, man? Really? Seriously, how do you drive, man? I mean, do you tear stuff up?
I don't drive. I have a driver, sir. I'm
okay. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. There you go.
There is a way, Big T, when you got people to assist you along the way, sir.
I love it. I love it. And then we got Bro Mel is in the house. Mr. Smooth is what I like to call him. That's his other nickname. You know, hey, we're gonna get like the WWE on the show. You know, WWE wrestlers, they got like 50 nicknames. You know, they be like the Legend Killer, the this, the that, talking about the same person, you know. But yeah, Bro Mel is also Mr. Smooth. I like that nickname too. So Bro Mel, what's going on?
Hey, praise the Lord, everybody. Glad to be here. Praise the Lord.
There you go.
Amen.
Love it. And then we got the Birdman in the house representing. Bird, what's going on?
Autism speaks.
Oh, love it. Hey, and man, hey, you're going to get to hear more of the Bird coming up in a few minutes because we got a really fun show set up for tonight. Hey, Aggie P, I didn't forget you, did I?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say because I couldn't remember if I called you out. Hey, Stats that threw me off, you know. Stats has totally thrown me off. Hey, anyway, together we're the Tunnel Crew, watching everything that happens inside and outside the tunnel, leading to the lines of competition in the world of sports. Tonight, we have a special edition of At Home with the Crossover because we're going to be doing something that's kind of unique for our show. We're going to be going, Radar likes to call it Behind the Cross. You know, I like that title, Behind the Cross. You know, we're going to be going behind the cross and we're going to be interviewing members of the Tunnel Crew. And it's a series that we're going to be doing. And we'll be interviewing all the members of the Tunnel Crew. And tonight's particular edition of this special broadcast, we're going to start off with two members of the Tunnel Crew. We're going to spend the first half of this episode interviewing our very own Birdman. And we're going to get to know him a little better. This is a chance for the listeners and fans of the show to get to know different members of the Tunnel Crew a little bit better. Get to know us a little bit better, find out something about us that you might not have known. And so we're going to start off, like I said, interviewing Birdman first. And then the second half of the show, it's Mama's time, the queen, the first lady, the doctor, all those nicknames. We're going to interview her for the second half of this special edition of At Home with the Crossover. But without further delay, we're going to go ahead, and it's going to follow the same format as far as time. You know, we'll have first segment, a second segment, and then we come back from the break after the second segment, we will interview TP. So let's go ahead and get it started and start off with the Bird. Go ahead and interview the Bird. And so I'm gonna go ahead and start us off, Bird. You have talked about having autism. And you've also you said something that I thought it was a really great testimony. You said that you don't feel like it's a negative thing, which it's not. You said it's a testimony. You know, you believe it's a testimony, and you have allowed the Lord to use it as such. So talk to us about, autism. Talk to us about how it's been a testimony for you, and get on into that. Basically, let me just say this, how has it helped you? And in what ways, has it, maybe made things a little bit more challenging to you, but that challenge has raised you up to another level and caused you to rise up to where God was calling you to be?
Well, I'll start off by saying this. I don't look at it as a disability, like you just mentioned. I look at it as a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
When I was diagnosed early as a baby. I had to get tested, occupational therapy. I wasn't interacting with other kids the way I was supposed to. I was repeating everything my parents were saying. Like they would say, "Hey, Isaiah," I'd say, "Hey, Isaiah," back. I actually went to a preschool. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it was in Watertown, New York, where my dad was stationed at the time. And that is where they found out that I was mildly autistic and part of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And so my parents were they were like, okay, but they were also emotional because they didn't know how to take that. Mm-hmm. And basically being mildly autistic is, well, we can do everything that everybody else can do. Mm-hmm. But it just takes us more time to do it. We see the world differently than everybody else sees it. Our emotions are not like everybody else. So I had to go through school with the society thinking that, oh, we're going to put him in these special classes.
Mm-hmm. But
society is thinking that autism is mentally insane. You got something wrong with your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You don't learn it the way that everybody else learned. So I had to go through school all like that. People picking on me because of my nystagmus, why my eyes is going one way and the other eye is going the other way. My craniosynostosis, I had to deal with that. And I was born with that. When I came out of my mom's womb, I was born with craniosynostosis. So that's, and that people don't realize that's nothing that I can do about that. They treat it as a disease. So really, I use my autism to say to people that actually deal with it that, hey, don't let your disability define who you are, because your disability is not who you are. Your disability is a gift that God has given you to help you push through life. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. That's why I'm able to do this show. That's why I'm able to do certain stuff. I may not be able to play sports because of my disability and everything, but it's helped me to minister to different people and explain to people, this is not a disease. It's not contagious. It's actually a blessing, because now you get to walk into my world. I see the world as everybody. I love everybody. Unless you give me a reason, but even in that, I still love everybody, and I know that sounds weird, but that's just the way I am, and I don't work the same way that you guys work. I work differently. What it would may take you 15 minutes, may take me 30 or an hour.
Yeah.
So,
hey, next, who wants to ask Bird something?
I want to ask Bird a question. All right, Bird, man. So I don't know if you've ever told me how you became an Eagles fan, because we live in North Carolina. This is Cowboys, Steelers, and Panthers, and the old Redskins, now Commander country. That's what that people like here. How did you end up liking the Philadelphia Eagles? That's what
that came from my dad. Came from my dad liking the Philadelphia Eagles, and he also liked watching Pittsburgh and the old Cowboys and all the older teams play, but he mostly liked the Eagles. And I actually had a Kurt Warner jersey when he was playing for the Rams, and I loved that jersey to death, but I was a baby. I didn't know nothing about the game and stuff like that. I didn't know what I was doing. A few years ago, I had a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, and I wrote my favorite player was Tony Romo. and my favorite team was the Cowboys.
Oh,
Yes, it was. But I didn't know what the game was, and I didn't know. But it wasn't until later on when I grew up, and I grew up watching my dad play, and I started getting more knowledgeable in the sport. That hey, let me give the Eagles a chance. Let me watch them and see how they play, and see how the game is actually played. And that wasn't until I got older that I actually started getting into Philadelphia.
Okay.
Birdman, I love your passion for sports and all sports. I have a question for you. If you could change positions with any athlete or any coach, who would it be and why?
That's a great question.
I would have to say I would have to change with Miles Sanders because I love running backs. I don't know what it is. I've always loved the running back position. I'm an offensive guy, like I mentioned on the show a couple weeks back, but I always loved the running back position. It's not as tedious as the quarterback position where you have to go through your reads and progressions. I like running.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next.
All right.
I'll go next. I got a question for the Uncle Birdman here from Radar. I can relate to the fact that you said that people look at things differently than other people, and I can also relate to how someone from your background wants to be treated like everybody. Have you had any difficulties with the jokes that I've told about your team and their ability to perform?
Wow.
Have you ever been like, you know what, I think Radar kind of insulting me, and then have to be like, switch gears and be like, oh, he's joking? Because I've noticed your level of comedy, your being able to keep up with me has sped up. Because guys, if you notice, when he was talking about LeBron beating up on Giannis, he was getting quick. It was like he was picking up on everything we were doing. And I was just wondering if you being around us as a group has shown you how to look at things from a different perspective. And if it all caused you a little bit, uneasiness.
Man, Radar trying to pull a 60 Minutes interview.
Don't do that, Big D. No hate on me, sir. I'm trying to go in depth here. Trying to show my serious side, bro, Mel.
So that just comes from stage presence, really. And I don't be offended because I can take it, but I can also dish it out with the best of them when talking and joking around about teams like that. So no, I don't really let that sweat me. Now I do have a tendency to where my temper can get the best of me and not just while talking about sports, but in other things. But I try not to, overstep that line because it's really a paper thin line, especially with my disability and my emotions and the way they are. So I try not to let that stop me from being me and being myself. So no, it doesn't really bother me when you poke fun. And sometimes I just be trying to think of stuff to say back. Really, I just keep my mouth shut when I don't got nothing to say.
Hey, good question, Radar. Good question. TP. And we might have to carry your answer over through the break, but
I was gonna say we may have to take mine over to the break, so I can wait till then.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to ask Birdman if he could pick a position to play around LeBron, what would he pick, and what would he play to help LeBron get into the playoffs this year?
All right, hey, Bird, put the brakes on it. Answer that after the break. We're up against a hard one. Hey, you're listening to a special edition of At Home with the Crossover.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, The Joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsurancservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
All right, welcome back to At Home with the Crossover. And all right, so before the break, Radar had asked you a question. And can you remember what it was? Does he need to repeat it?
It was what position would I play with LeBron to help him get to the playoffs, correct?
Yep.
That's correct.
Yep. I play point guard. I'd be a whole lot better than Kyrie Irving in regards to showing up. That's a job. Y'all can laugh all you want to, but that's a job.
No, I mean, hey, I'm laughing because the way you trolled him. Somebody regards to showing up.
Regards to showing up. Now I have to mature as far as playing. You know, obviously, I'm not going to come out and just say, "Oh, I'm the best point guard in the game right now." I got to mature in that, obviously. Yeah. So I mean, I probably play point guard because I'm better at that position. Not just just it's on the video game too, 2K.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. Well, TP, you were going to ask a question before the break, so go ahead and stump the bird, man.
Well, one of the things I was going to say is that. I never say that autism is a disability, but autism just it's about, you're right, that you process things I really don't even want to say differently. I just say that it takes a little bit more time. It's more about comprehension. The way that you receive information, your comprehension processing is just a little different than maybe the average person. You are normal, so I don't like to say the normal person. But one of the things I do know is that sometimes as we process things differently, there are times that I guess when you can say a joke and it seems to be a little personal. Have you experienced that a lot outside of the Tunnel Crew, even in growing up, where you notice that, yes, it is your temper, more so than I guess more so than of how are you processing that? Because sometimes it can seem like you can take a joke very easily, and sometimes it seems like it's dear to your heart, where it's more of your passion. And I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't seem to be autism. It just seems to be more of your passion. So can you speak a little bit more about that? Because that doesn't seem to be more autism. That just seems to be more you.
Well, I do, like I said earlier, I do have a tendency to lose my temper from time to time, and that most of the time is not even autism. It is my anger, my flesh. And I try not to let that get the best of me, like I had mentioned earlier. But I did run into a situation in high school in particular where we were doing a project and it was on Shakespeare. And they used a phrase cockeyed. And that's a joke that people called me because of my nystagmus, the way my eyes move back and forth and they don't stay stationary. So one of the girls came up to me, we were in groups. One of the girls came up to me and I didn't process this. I didn't take it in a way to where it was angry, because it took me a minute to process what she was trying to say. And so everybody came up to me after she said it. She said, "Thou art cockeyed." And it took me a minute to process what she was trying to say. I'm like, oh, she poking fun at. So I kind of laughed it off. Now I went home that evening and was kind of mad at it. And everybody's coming up to me and asking me if I was okay. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. But knowing deep down inside, I was really angry because all my life I had to deal with jokes like that. And I know that they're just jokes to some people from the outside looking in that don't live with what I live with, that don't have my disability. To them, it's just jokes. But to me, stuff like that, when you cross that personal and push that personal button, you may not see it right then and there. I might not lose my cool, like, what did you just say? You know, or start freaking out, crying and doing all this other stuff. But it really does hurt behind the scenes to hear stuff like that.
Well, I have something to follow up with that real quick. And that is, in my own personal opinion, I do think that you need to possibly have another evaluation. And the only reason why I'm going to say that is because I don't even know if you're on the spectrum anymore. I mean, and I'm really serious. I don't even know if you're really on the spectrum anymore, because with autism, and you're talking about on the spectrum, you don't necessarily, I want to say, always have autism. And what I mean by that is when you have met all of your goals and your objectives, then you're kind of off of the autism spectrum. Tony Braxton's son is one of those. And I'm just saying this as a professional and part of the field, is that I just think you're an overall passionate fan. I don't really think that, and this is just me speaking. I just question if you're really on the spectrum. I just think you're an overall passionate person. I do, and you may not, I don't know if you want to speak on this, but I am very curious about what you said is cranial, what do you call it?
Craniosynostosis.
Yes, I would love to learn a little bit more about that.
So basically, when I was born, I had fluid in the back of my head. I was born with fluid in the back of my head. It's kind of like that fluid kind of sits there on the back, like on the back side of your brain, on the cerebellum of your skull. So fast forward to 2016, when I was getting ready to graduate, I had gotten into an altercation with somebody outside of school. It led to a physical altercation. We were playing a game of football, tackle football. And I'm just going off of what people had told me about this, because I don't even remember what happened or what was said to cause this altercation. Because long story short, I said something and I acted out of character. I spat in the guy's face in the altercation. The guy beat me down and he kicked me in the head, the back of the head where that fluid was. So I was concussed for about a month and a half. I was told that when I got in the car with mom, they had to take me to the ER because I was asking, oh, what day is it? You know, acting real concussed. What day was it? Oh, it was my friend's birthday today. It's St. Patrick's Day, because it did happen on St. Patrick's Day that year. So I vaguely remember what happened and what I said. I do know that I did get into a physical altercation with him. I did spit, and we apologized. We're cool and stuff now. But basically, he could have killed me if he kicked a little bit harder. And that all that fluid rushed out of the back of my head. They had to lay me down and put me on some stuff to kind of calm it down and everything.
Spinal cord fluid.
Yeah, it's kind of sort of like that, similar to that, but it's in the back of the brain, back of the skull.
Wow.
Wow, man.
Man, that's why something like this is cool, because I mean I don't know about y'all. I didn't know that, you know. I mean, I didn't know that story right there. So
that's why I wanted him to talk a little bit more about it. I feel like you know, I can understand what he was saying earlier with the autism, and when you keep repeating stuff all the time, it's called echolalia, or like an echo, and people do have a tendency to do that, especially kids when they're younger. But this is something that I think that needed to be more talked about, because a lot of people know about autism, but a lot of people don't know about that. So, wow.
Somebody else got a question?
Birdman, I have a question. So I know you, like I say, you're passionate about sports. You like sports in general. Through sports, what skills that you feel like have helped you through life because of your passion for sports and wanting to, you know, engage with sports a lot? How did that help you, you know, through life?
I think one of the things is leadership, because a lot of these sports, you got a lot of leaders, like the NFL in particular. You got certain team captains and stuff that just lead the team and direct the team and know what they need to do. And so I take that into consideration throughout my life. There's a wrestler that I like named John Cena. He earlier on in 2010 came up with a slogan, "Never give up." And that resonated with me even to this day, because even with my disability and everything that I've battled throughout my life, I've always used that to push me forward. And he's always been, in my eyes, a leader, you know, that I can follow, and an example that I can lead by example out of. And I always try to use that: never give up, push through it, no matter what the cost is, no matter how hard it is, you got to push through it.
Hey, I want to jump in real quick. I got a quick question for you. How did you become a Wake Forest? Because we know, everybody here knows this guy is passionate, and I mean passionate about Wake Forest. Whether it's football, whether it's basketball, that level of fanaticism is the same. And where did the love for Wake Forest football and basketball come from?
2007, when I first got the original Xbox, not the 360, the original Xbox. I had gotten a game, the NCAA football game from 2007. And I didn't know nothing about college football. I didn't even know that college football really existed, or any college sports outside of professional existed. So I played that game with my brother, and that's the kind of team that'll always pop up when you're playing. Would be Wake Forest, North Carolina. I'm like, I like Wake Forest. Let me just play that. So it kind of came off of that. But again, it's kind of sort of like the Eagles. I got more knowledgeable in it, as my dad had told me, well, you know, they're a college. I'm like, that's a school, right? And he said, yeah, it's a school. And you know, that's how they get into the NFL, you know, and he was kind of explaining to me the process and everything. So as I did more research about it and actually started watching more college sports, whether basketball, football, etc., I started getting in tune with the Demon Deacons, because that's the team that not just because I played them on the video game, but that's the team that I studied. I even wanted to go to college there. I couldn't get in though, but I actually tried to get into college there, because that's how my passion was for the school. I loved it.
Wow. So a video game.
Yeah, it started from a video game, and then as I got more knowledgeable, it kind of grew.
Yeah. All right. Next.
Birdman. The question I have, you might be too young. You probably haven't even really thought about this. But then again, you're a Birdman. You probably have. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but how do you want to be remembered?
Oh, wow.
Whoa. That's a good question.
Another 60
somebody
minutes.
my age, you know, I think about that all the time, but you might, I don't know. I mean, you probably thought about it. I mean,
hey, the Bible says a good name is better than riches, you know. So there you go. That's an excellent question.
I would rather be remembered as a man of God than to be remembered as Birdman, or to be remembered as a member of the Tunnel Crew, or to be remembered as somebody who's put out multiple projects of music, bodies of work. I would want to be remembered as a man of God, somebody who's tried to strive to get to the kingdom of God. And I hope that one day, you know, with me testifying about my autism and me working harder, not just on this show, but working harder on my job, or whatever I'm doing, in whatever I do, I try to glorify God in it. So I would hope to be remembered as a man of God more than anything else.
That's good.
Good answer, Bert.
That is a good answer.
Appreciate that, man. Anybody else?
If nobody has one right at this instant, I can ask him something. Let's talk about this rap career of yours, you know. I want to ask, you know, how did you, because I mean, I've listened to a couple of your tracks, and I played it for my wife. I was like, listen to this. I played it for her. She was like, that's Birdman? I said, yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? She said, yeah. That, and I'm assuming that, you know, you being a sound engineering specialist, I don't know if the listeners know this or not, but he does the sound editing and mixing and all that stuff for the radio portion of the show on Thursday nights. So you being a sound engineering specialist, having gone to school for that and everything, where does the interest in sound, music, all that stuff come from?
That comes from growing up around music. I actually started, the first rap that I wrote was in 7th grade. And my friend actually gave that rap to me. He wrote it, but he gave it to me. He's like, this is yours. Yeah. I took it and kind of added my own little pieces to it. And it kind of went from there. It went from that rap on just one sheet of paper to 52 notebooks somewhere in my room of unrecorded material. Okay. And they're just sitting there. Now, some of the songs that you heard, they are put to music, and they did come from one of those 52 notebooks, but majority of them are in the vault, as people would say. So it kind of came from.
Hey, he's the Prince of rap music. You know, he said Prince got thousands of songs never been released.
yeah, I guess you could say that. It just came from growing up around music.
Okay, all right.
I got a quick question, Tony.
Go ahead.
When you go to the game with your mother and father, who do y'all have to calm down? Do y'all have to calm down, you or your mama? Because right now, I can tell by the way your mama interacts with us online. She is very passionate.
Yeah.
And I bet you, boy, you better not say nothing about her team if they down.
Yes.
And you be in her presence. I just wanted to know, when we come back from the break, are you that guy, or do you have to calm her down?
All right, y'all, listen up. You can catch this at-home edition of the Crossover Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and tell everybody you know about it. And then on Thursday nights, catch the original audio version of the show at 7 p.m. You can find it online at WLJFradio.com. Hey, when we come back, it's time for the Queen to get her interview on.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, The Joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life, and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry, join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
All right, welcome back to this special edition of At Home with the Crossover. And you can catch At Home with the Crossover every Tuesday night live on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell everybody you know about it, and tune in every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. live. And then on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., you can catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the 100.7 WLJF app, which is available both on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. Okay, real quick, Bird, answer that question that that Radar asked before the break, because we don't want to take up TP's time, so make it quick.
It's my mom. You got to calm her down. Even at my little brother's games, you got to calm her down.
Gotta calm mom down. Huh?
Wow.
I knew it.
So you knew it.
I knew it. I could tell by the responses. He's absolutely right. I could tell
Yeah.
that he's a passionate fan.
Well, yeah, and I know his dad. His dad is so laid back, so calm. I mean, I'm sure Bird has seen a different side of him, you know, but the side I see, he's so laid back and calm and smooth. He's another one like Bro Mel, Mr. Smooth, you know. Very talented artist also. All right, well, let's get on in here and roll up our sleeves and get ready to get dirty. Because it's time for the first. You see all these grins and everything. All you see is teeth. You know.
They're getting the Aggie P. They're getting the questions out. Right now, they got the phone out calling the
I had to call mama real quick to get the truth. I ain't want to tell us that shooters won, Aggie P. Ain't one of the shooters won.
All right, so like I said, the second half of this special episode, we're gonna be interviewing the Queen, the First Lady, Mama, the Doctor, TP, and so let's go ahead and jump on in there and let her have it. So, hey, who wants first? Aggie P, he been licking his chops, so I'm pretty sure he wants to jump on in there.
Okay, I'll go first, but I'm not gonna be hard on Jersey City. Jersey City, huh? Okay, but anyway, my question, TP, I see that you have been executive director of a lot of organizations. Operational chief operations. I mean, you guys should see this lady's resume.
I'm telling you,
she's done a lot, and I love her for that.
Yeah.
And everything. But I want to know, and I'm thinking I'm right in my guessing, did you become passionate for sports while working for the NBA as community relations? Or did you have a passion for sports before that? Did you play sports or anything like that? Just kind of update us on that, how you got your passion, or if you played sports before taking this job.
Okay. Kind of hear a little something in the background. I actually became passionate about sports pretty much all of my life. Even at the age of 3, I was in tap dance. Okay. My mother was in dance class, and then I started dance class in Jersey City. So yes, when I was born in Jersey City. And from there, it just really continued. Sports was always very therapeutic for me. It was a time when anytime it was time for PE class or anything, it was really a time just to escape a lot of things. I did play sports. I actually ran track for a short amount of time. I could not stay after school because, hey, when your parents work and they want you to leave at 4 o'clock, your parents don't, they work until 5:30, and then the teacher says, hey, your parents can't be here by 4, you can't run track. So that was the end of my track career.
What did you run, TP?
I ran the 800.
Okay. 800.
2 times around.
I ran the 800. I also did high jump. And I also did the high jump. I also played in 9th grade at Western Guilford High School. And then I became a cheerleader, and cheerleading was more of my thing. It was more flexible. It was something that I really enjoyed doing. And so if you ask anybody or any alumnus from Western Guilford Facebook page, they'll tell you they mostly know me from cheerleading.
We want to see some cheerleading pictures.
Oh, no.
She said, no, you don't.
I'm gonna be honest, I was also a baton twirler. Most people don't know that. I still have my baton here in my closet. So I was a baton twirler.
Had the boots with the little tassels on them and stuff.
No, we didn't have that. I lived in Baltimore by this time. We didn't have that. We just had the little what you call it, the kids kid, the plain white tennis shoes everybody wears.
Okay, yeah.
We had those. Now I had a little leotard, you know, all little
Oh,
kids
wow.
leotard,
Yeah.
and had my little baton, tall and slim, and I was always the tallest one in my class.
Okay. All
Always
right.
the tallest one. I think I've been the same height since around 8th grade. 8th, 9th
Okay.
grade.
All
Mhm.
right. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, who else has a question for the first lady?
Oh,
Go ahead,
I got
Rudolph.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, Stats.
All right. Okay, TP. So, how did you end up knowing so many people in the sports realm? How did that come about for you? Did it happen quickly, or did it take years long process?
It's a years long process, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. For one thing, what happened was when I went to college, one of the things that I learned very early was volunteering and networking. I was always one that I could not sit down. I'm gonna be honest with you, sitting even for an hour is a miracle. Because I was always kind of a hyper child, and my mother always knew that I would not have a job sitting down. So early on, around 15, I started working. I had a worker's permit, and I started working at a store, Farmore Drug Emporium.
I remember Farmore.
Farmore, you know.
It's where we used to rent our videos from.
Right. Look, in competition with Blockbuster, but you can go there first and get the movies, right?
Yep.
But and so what I did was, you know, I started building relationships. You know, if you want to get to the top, you're gonna ask the top. You're gonna, you know, don't ask the middleman. If you want to be to the top of something and be in management or whatever, you start talking to them. What happened was, as I started building relationships, that really pruned me to be able to, once I got into college and they told me, I started doing internships, I started volunteering. And I was told to volunteer in your field of what you would like to do. You can definitely volunteer into other things, but volunteer into what you want to do. And if you don't know, ask your advisor, because that's their job. Their job is to advise you and to help you open those doors. And so that's what happened. I started volunteering at different places. And then I started building those relationships. And when I was in my last year at A&T, we had HBO Sports, we had the Charlotte Coliseum there, we had the Checkers there. It was a one-time big event that we had. And I kept holding my hand up the whole time, and the guy never called my name until the very last question. And what I said to Sporty Gerald's, who was actually over the Charlotte Coliseum at the time, and he is now a professor at the University of South Carolina. He was actually over the Charlotte Coliseum. And he said, ma'am, do you have a question? I said, yes. I said, now you have sat here, all of you on the panel have sat here today and told me everything that I need for you, but what can you offer me? And so that just brought up a big thing. And everybody said, you come on up here, you come on up here. So everybody gave me their card, and Sporty told me to go to grad school. So I ended up going to grad school at Temple. And then he said, after you finish grad school, you come and talk to me. So when I finished grad school, I did end up going back to Philadelphia for a while. But when I came back, he said, okay, I may have an internship for you. Now, notice that some internships pay, some don't. So I ended up working at the Charlotte Hornets for, I can say now, $1,000 a month. And that was before taxes. And that's a big sacrifice to move and to go and stay with students when you're 23 years old, because your 23-year-old mind is, I'm kind of done with college and college people. But it was a sacrifice in what I did in order to come back into the field. And when I did, I met everybody. I met everyone. I made an Excel sheet. I wrote their names down, their positions down, their email addresses down. And then that's how I started building my network for people in sports. And then that's also how I ended up finding out that I have a cousin in the WNBA, and then her father who used to play in the NBA. So when you have those relationships, you have to look the part, you have to dress the part. You know, you have to come dressed like you are $1 million almost. You can go to Salvation Army and get a suit, but the thing is, you just have to look nice and representable and inviting. And when you do that, people wanting to give things to you and people build those relationships with you.
Okay.
Yeah, TP, you made a great point there, and I had went back to Elon to share with the students as well, is that either you go do an intern or something that you want to do, you know, because you're not going to see how it works unless you volunteer or you get an internship. Because when you do that, you're going to know either if that's something you like or you don't like. And I think a lot of students now don't do that. Then they get in the fields and then they don't like it because, you know, they're looking at money, but money is not everything. You know, it's being able to want to get up every day and go to work and have a good time, you know, while you're doing it.
That's right.
Question that I have pertaining to that as well is that sort of something like Birdman, those lessons, and I think we all learn lessons playing sports, but how those lessons, you know, in your career have helped you to continue to stay focused, first of all, on what God is calling you to do.
Wow. I'd say the lessons that I have learned that, and you say how those lessons have helped to kind of shape me into the person I am and those things now.
Yes, what God is calling you to do now.
What's God calling me to do? I'm gonna say this, it's not just the lessons, but it's also the people. You know, one of the things that I can definitely say is those relationships, what I have, how do I say this? When, you know, Pastor Thomas has always told us, you know, ways of different things that we can find our gifts. And I actually took a surveys to find out one of my things with my gifts. And one of them is administration. And the other one is discernment. And I can say when I was at the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club, looking back, I definitely had discernment and I definitely had administration. And that's kind of where Aggie P was coming from when you could see my my resume. So you probably went to LinkedIn and saw that. So
no, you don't see, you don't need to know all of that. You don't need to, hey Radar, she don't need to know Aggie.
You don't need to know all that. He has more questions than the guy.
So what I would say is that I really feel like really all of my life, I have always been into people, always. Even my mother has said that. I've always had a job where I've enjoyed working with people, but I've always tried to build relationships. It's not your high and by. I'm not a good salesman at all, but it's always about you, the person. And I have always been able to just kind of tell if something has been going on or what it is kind of behind the scenes, to whereas, you know, I felt like God has given it to me. Now working at Salvation Army, I've always been able to pray with people because the Salvation Army is a church that I haven't been able to do with other people. And I believe that that has really been one of the things that I have definitely learned from, which is to keep those relationships, to keep those people close to you, because the way that I feel about those people is the way that some people feel about a sports team. Very passionate about them. I'm very passionate and invested into people.
Okay. TP, was somebody get ready to go?
No.
Okay. Your new adventure, being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay. What is one thing that you have learned about yourself in being an entrepreneur that you didn't know before, and you learn and you are dealing with it and you praying your way through it?
Well, I can't say that it's something that I didn't know, but I can say that I am definitely kind of relearning is patience. Patience.
That's my thing too.
Patience.
I've been studying on that right now, but anyway, wow, TP.
I would say, you know, patience to be, sometimes we need pruning, kind of reminds you of a flower. Sometimes you need purging. Sometimes we need a little bit of perfection. Sometimes we need patience to let it grow. And that's kind of where I am. I'm that tree that's kind of doing all of it. And I'm trying to learn to put the patience in when it comes to finances, when it comes to all of that. But I tell you one thing it has improved upon, And that is making sure that I pray even more. And I do. I pray every time we go out the door before we meet people. I pray every time I buy a product. So that has really helped.
Hey, everybody. You can catch this at-home edition of the Crossover every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. live on YouTube. Go to the Love and Faith Radio YouTube channel and make sure you like, share, subscribe, and tell everybody you know about it. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Catch the audio version of the original Crossover Sports Show. You can find it online at WLJFradio.com. You can also download the WLJF app, which is available both on Google Play and in the iTunes Store. When we come back, we're going to wrap up our interview with the Queen.
Why so sad when the joy is here? What's the answer? Joy in the morning, the Crossover. You can find them all right here on 100.7 WLJF. There's no need to be down when there's plenty of joy to go around. Get your daily dose and turn that frown upside down. Love and Faith Radio, 100.7 WLJF, the joy.
My name is Priscilla Van. I'm with Hometown Insurance Service. I'm an independent insurance agent that specializes in Medicare, senior solutions, life and health. I work with dozens of companies so that I can offer you the appropriate coverage as well as the affordable price for your insurance needs. If I can help you, please contact me at my website, hometowninsuranceservice.com, or email me at hometown.inservice, or you can find me on Facebook at Hometown Insurance Service. Thank you.
Times are changing. We all have questions about the future. Join us as we find the answers through the Word of God.
Love and Faith Christian Fellowship invites you to join our congregation. One church, 2 locations, Greensboro and Kernersville.
We're helping people on their path to find God as we provide spiritual leadership and growth through diverse ministry.
Celebrating over 25 years of ministry. Join our Love and Faith community where Jesus Christ is Lord and the people are loved.
It's time now for the Crossover Wrap-Up Report. Let's send it back to the Tunnel Crew.
All right. Well, hey, the wrap-up report is wrapping up our interview with the Queen. So welcome back to At Home with the Crossover. And we are doing a special episode of the show. And first half of the show, we interviewed Birdman. The second half of the show, we've been enjoying our time with TP and interviewing her. And so we're going to go ahead and take this last segment to wrap up our interview time with her. And we'll go ahead and ask her a couple of more questions. I've got one real quick here that I want to ask you. Who is your favorite sports personality of all time and why?
That's a good one. Right now, I cannot think of an overall all-time person, but I will say when it comes to basketball and I think about who has put in the most work, I'm going to say Bill.
Bill who?
Russell.
Russell. Yeah, man. Hey, 11 championships.
Yeah, I think he has really achieved overall. He was a coach, a basketball player.
Yep.
You know, just everything. He has the most rings. I think he has one for every finger. So
that's exactly. Hey, there you go. That's a good choice, Bill Russell.
I got a quick question, Tony Crew. What of the non-spiritual fruits had you really to rely on to deal with all of us guys, since you're the only queen on the panel? What of the non-spiritual fruits had you had to utilize to get through, what, about 4 years now, Big T?
Yep.
4 years now.
Yep.
Have I had to deal with
well, be 4 years this August, this July, I think.
This July, 4 years this July. Yes, thank you.
love and kindness. Different love.
Not long suffering.
No,
Not patient.
I wouldn't say long suffering because, as you know, I'm quick to tell you, but I do tell you in love and I do tell you in kindness. And believe it or not, I do take a breath, and I'm learning to do that even a little more. The women in my family have a tendency to, we tell you in love, and it's not that I just feel like I just got to tell you. I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
But I do try to get us all in line, and I do try to keep us organized in love and doing that. So yes, that's what mamas do.
And one other quick question. Do you sometimes think you're talking to Che when you're dealing with Birdman? This is a two-part question. Because I know Che deals with some of the challenges that Birdman deals with. And I think me and Birdman had a one-on-one conversation about sometimes I think you share with him what you're dealing with Che, and I think that helps him, like you said, bridge the gap a lot of times. What do you have to say to that question?
Actually, no. Che and Birdman are completely different people. Che is a person that I actually cannot raise my voice to or even talk in this manner. Che is very sensitive to loud noises. Cannot do that at all. In fact, if my son was in the room with me right now, he would say that I'm shouting. My son actually puts the TV on like number 1 or number 2. How he hears it is more of a processing type thing, which I was trying to lead to Birdman. When it comes to your feelings and stuff, this is me personally. I know that he might have been diagnosed with autism, which was similar to what my son was diagnosed with early on. But then there's an auditory process, and to me, it sounds a little bit more of what Birdman has described, more so than autism. And I agree with Birdman. People look at it as a disability. I don't like to even say that word at all, because when you look behind the scenes and when you really find out more about it, their awareness of a situation is like 1,000 compared to ours. So the dimples, the smiles, everything, they can see all of that. And Birdman can feel all of that. But I don't compare them two at all. Their approach is totally different. I look at Birdman like a little brother that we have to feed into, that Rooftop has often said we have to do with stats.
Wow, TP. You have a lot. What do you do to relax? Everybody needs an outlet.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to be honest, that is probably one of the greatest questions I have been asked the last 10 years. I cannot remember the last time that I took a vacation. I believe it was before I had my son.
Wow.
So I'm supposed to have my first vacation in June that I've had pretty much in 11, almost 12 years.
Wow.
So yes, I work at 4 different places and have my own business. And I would say right now, play with my son. That's the way I relax. I am learning to take a breath because my body, especially lately, has let me know you need to sit down. When you don't have a spouse, you have a tendency to make other things more of what you spend your time in. And of course, my son is that, but we do a lot of things together. So when you manage your time, relax is not in the vocabulary at times, but I'm learning to do that, especially as I get older.
That's good. Okay.
Good question.
Wow. I got a sort of a funny question, a fun question.
Okay.
Can you briefly explain to the listeners, the fans, and everything, the reason for your 10,000 nicknames on the show? Let the fans know why you got all these. The people that have tuned in and they're like, why every week they call her Mama Doctor and Queen and all this stuff. Just kind of let the fans know what that's all about.
I got the mama because before we came on the air, I used to have to get the guys straight. We used to sit in the studio for almost an extra hour just sitting there talking about sports. And I was the only one who had to go home to a little one. Like, no, look, we need to get this together. Come on, let's stand up. Somebody need to lead prayer. This is what we need to do. So I was sounding like a mom and, being a mom. And I was like, no, we need to get this on the road because I got to go home. And my own mother would say, listen, I can only watch a child for so long. So that's how I got mama.
Yeah.
I got the queen because, as you see, I am the only princess, queen, and woman on the panel. So respectfully so, I am a queen of the Lord but I am his child. So I am the only woman. So I reign on the throne of the crossover.
There you go.
Yes, and I got TP because in school a lot of people would say TP or Train for the first time, of my name. So so that's how I got TP. Shout out to Corey Lehman. He always say Train or Corey or TP. So that's where I got that from. And I got Dr. P, that actually a lot of people call me from my business because they used to actually say Professor P all the time. He said, before I was even a doctor, I had a lot of students that invested in me. And again, building those relationships that I know Bro Mel definitely knows about, being in on the college atmosphere. So they were speaking it into me before I received my PhD, which is why they call me the doctor.
Okay. All right. Good. I know there's some fans out there that probably say, "Oh, I never knew." Okay, well, good. That's good to know that.
Yes. Getting y'all in line.
And if I may say so, Tunnel Crew, she lives up to every one of them. Sometimes you run into people don't live up to the nicknames. Yeah. She lives up to every one of them. Yeah. Every single one of them. And one thing I have never called her is shy.
True.
Well, hey, y'all.
And this is gonna lead into my question. TP,
well, hey, we got less than a minute now. So.
Less than a minute. If you could vote one person off the Tunnel Crew, who would you vote off?
Oh, Lord.
No one.
What?
God has a calling for everyone, but I tell you
what. Not even Uncle Birdman? What's that? I know I'm in your top 3, right?
All right, hey, everybody. This has been a blast. We've had a lot of fun interviewing Birdman and TP. And hey, look forward to seeing more Tunnel Crew members interviewed down the line, because we're going to do more of this with the rest of the Tunnel Crew. So we're getting ready to get out of here. For the Queen.
Blessings.
For Radar.
Narrow is the way.
For Bro Mel.
Praise the Lord.
For Birdman. For Aggie P.
No weapon.
I'm your man, Big T, signing off and saying, no matter where you are, look up and know that your creator is there. Until next time, see you, and we might want to be you.
That's all we have for you today. So be sure to join us next week for the crossover. And remember, the Tunnel Crew don't play unless we have something to say.